All right. Well, I think I'm going to go ahead and welcome everyone and get started with this evening, and people will join in as they come along. Our opening this evening is totally visual, so please do not be upset if you're expecting to hear sound. You won't. So there we are. John, did you get your message there from the opening?
Yes, I did. Thank you. Also wanted to note, if anybody read the article, that, we mentioned 1934 was the OA became official, and 1936 is when Allegagan Lodge first was incorporated. So we'll be celebrating that with the display outside of the office starting February 17th, and that'll go for a few months, celebrating 85 years of the OA in our council area.
Oh, very nice. Okay. I wanted to do that tonight since we're in February and we're talking about the scouting, the anniversary of scouting, to show where we have been and how things have changed over time. So with that, and speaking of things that are changing over time, Greg, do you have updates for us?
Sure. All right. Slide will advance. There we go. So the hours at the Trading Post remain the same as they've been, but they have been adding some Saturday hours in with some good success. So I saw that announced that Friday the 13th, Saturday the 13th, excuse me, the Trading Post will be open again from 9 a.m. to noon. Also the following Saturday, if you're coming up to WOW, up to Moses Scout Reservation, and want to place an email or a phone order and pick it up at WOW, we're happy to bring that up for you as well. And we'll be there in the Moses Trading Post from 9 a.m. to 3:30 in the afternoon. Again, if you're looking for who to contact for information, right on the front page, there's a red box listing some of the staff members that are taking the lead in some of the responsibilities. One big thing happened with Scout Book this week, and I got a couple emails about it, and it So this is for our Scouts BSA, but also our venturing and our Sea Scout folks, that merit badge counselors since September 1st have been being synchronized from the BSA database to Scout Book overnight. It used to be the council had to do it manually. And because not all councils were doing it, units were able to add in their own merit badge counselors. So a number of units have added people in on their own unit rosters as a merit badge counselor over the years and added in what merit badges they were approved for. Sometimes that was true, and sometimes that didn't actually end up being true. Maybe the people submitted all the paperwork, but for one reason or another, it didn't get finalized. So as of today, and it did start last week, any merit badge counselors that were not registered with the Boy Scouts
They also haven't been out after
officially,
Scouts.
they have been removed from Scout Book as a merit badge counselor. All merit badge counselors have been removed off of unit rosters. So if you used to see your local unit merit badge counselors on your roster, they're gone from there now. That doesn't mean they've been removed from Scout Book or that they're not approved. It just means that they're not registered with the unit anyway. They're registered with the district or the council. So they're moved into the merit badge counselor area. So if you are a registered direct contact leader in a Scouts BSA troop, a ship or a crew, you can go to your troop roster, and towards the bottom, there is a merit badge counselor search box that you'll be able to find those individuals in and the merit badges that they're registered for. So if they were dropped because they weren't registered, it might have been that when the districts and the councils do their recharter at the end of June, maybe their YPT wasn't up to date because they had it for their unit YPT deadline and they just didn't get it registered and no one ever caught it. Or maybe they never had their paperwork fully processed. So we'll help you with that. We'll get that corrected for you with the paperwork, but wanted to make you aware of that. And if you are a merit badge counselor, when you log in, there's a place you'll be able to see your profile. So on the left is just my page when I log in. If I click on my positions, I can see my professional position, my volunteer position with my unit, and my merit badge counselor information and what merit badges I'm registered for. If you are unit leader, on your roster page towards the bottom, you can click here for the list and you enter what badge you're looking for, your zip code, what radius you want to look for, and kind of information for the counselor and search, and then we'll pull up whether they're registered in Western Mass Council or Heart of New England or somewhere across the world. They could potentially pop up in there based on the information they've put in. So if you have questions about that, reach out to me and I'll assist as best I can. Some great things coming up in February. I hope you've seen the invites to the fireside chats tomorrow night and Thursday at 7 o'clock. We do ask that you pre-register. Our account is limited to 100 people and we can increase that for an extra fee, but we don't want to do so unless we need to. So at 6:30, we need to make that decision. So right now we have 50 people registered for tomorrow night, but we'd love to have you there. That will be recorded and available afterwards, but there will be Q&A at the end. You can see the Metacomet Klondike is happening, but it is small and it's already full due to some of the limitations around COVID. We have some great Nova nights coming up. WOA is happening, as you can see, and want to let you know details to come, but the fishing committee is working on putting together an ice fishing festival Saturday, February 27th up at Moses as well. And that will be pre-registration only, just due to COVID restrictions, but lots of room out on the ice. And the Order of the Arrow did recently make a change to their winter fellowship date, and it'll be a day event. Lots of ways to get involved, including the work day up at camp this week. And if you are involved in the district or council level in any way for raising money, membership, planning an activity. So if you're planning a Pinewood Derby, a Klondike, a Cub Fun Day, There's a meeting for you, advancement, recognitions. So if you're running your recognition event for your district, love for you to be there. All the outdoor programs and training as well. So join us on the 18th. And a couple things just looking ahead, we've made a couple adjustments or some things in the work. The Council Pinewood Derby, we're going to make some plans for a virtual event. Just some concern. Am I back now?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, sorry about that. Pinewood Derby, we're making some plans for a virtual event. Not certain that we're going to be able to get a large group together, so look for information coming out soon about that, and maybe even the district derbies. The spring camporee, we've made the decision to postpone that to the fall. We don't have a date yet. Just not looking likely that we're going to have be able to put that event on the way we want to. Weeblos Woods is planning a day event only, so all the great activities that happen during the day, just not staying overnight. And Mr. Willamane let me know that the 75th anniversary event is rescheduled to September 18th as well. Looking forward a little bit, Florida Sea Base contingent is full, which is really exciting, and they're planning to head down to Florida in April. And the Sea Base is doing well right now. I was just down at the summit, and they got their summer camp license approval this week as well. So things are going well with the national bases. And summer camp, I know I've shared with you before, there's a lot of information coming out on the website, but the whole month of July, we plan to be there for everybody. So day camp, overnight camp, come with your unit, come as a provisional scouter as your own, and we'll find a unit for you, or even come with your family. And NYLT is being planned. The staff training is occurring as well. Won't go through all this, but adult training is a great opportunity to take advantage of the online opportunities, and the Appalachian Trail team has put together some additional online. So it will be in-person virtual meetings, if you will. So there'll be that back and forth and questions and banters. And so they're starting up on the 13th of this month with some Saturday, and that'll be like the Scoutmaster classroom, den leader training, troop committee, unit committee trainings, those types of committee that are available on my.scouting.org, but you can have some of the discussions. And plans are going forward with the 2 outdoor trainings for Cub Scouts, Baloo, and also for the Scoutmaster and Assistant Scoutmaster training in April. And the screen went blank, so that must be it.
Thank you, Greg. Joshua, you have words from the Council Commissioner?
So words from the Council Commissioner, I will be brief this evening. We've been doing very, very well in terms of charter renewal. It is now the 1st of February, so charter should be in, but on the off chance that your charter is not in yet, and you need assistance in some way, please reach out to your unit commissioner or to me or to your district commissioner. Reach out to all of us, and we'd be more than happy to make sure that everything gets processed, only because one of the things we need to keep in mind is that if your charter is not in, that means that you're not covered by insurance. And so even though you might not necessarily be meeting in person, you still want to make sure that you are covered by insurance. The other thing that I would really like to stress, just as Greg did, tomorrow evening at 7 o'clock and Thursday evening at 7 o'clock will be 2 fireside chats with the Council Key 3. And it's an opportunity to kind of hear some updates on Council, some ideas that we have going forward in order to help units continue to grow in 2021 into 2022. And it's a great chance to come together and if you have any questions, hopefully get some answers. So I hope to see you tomorrow, Thursday, or both nights. Thank you.
All right, thank you. District announcements. Anyone from AT with announcements? And Rebecca's shaking her head no. Okay, what about Metacomet? Anybody from Metacomet? Mike, anything from Metacomet? You need to unmute Mike.
Yeah, we have a couple of things going on. I'd like to, first of all, recognize all the help we had with the Operation Zero program. We had 19 scouts and leaders complete the 3 sessions. The last one was kind of a snowless, but wintry weather a couple of weeks ago. We are going ahead with the Klondike Derby, thanks to a small group of very dedicated leaders. It will be small, but it will be spirited, and that's going to come up on the 13th. I haven't heard from Mark what's happening with our district committee meeting, which is scheduled for Thursday night at the same time as the fireside chat. So I'm not sure if we're rescheduling or if we are just going to postpone it until next month. So
Nope.
watch the calendar for any updates. So
Mike, this is Art. I can jump in. The fireside chat is being played both tomorrow night and Thursday. It's the same item. So anybody who wants to attend can attend on Tuesday. They need not attend on Thursday. So the meeting should go forward as planned.
Yeah, understood, but I know a number of our district committee members also have unit meetings on Tuesday night, so we're kind of stretched in both directions. And Mark is one of them, so yeah, stay tuned and we'll have it on the calendar and some updates. So that's all from the North Country.
Okay. All right. From General Knox, the one thing that we have been bumping into is that not everyone, when they're registering, is putting in their unit number or their role, so that when it comes time to do some of the attendance recording, we are kind of having to do some guesstimating along the way. So when you are registering, and I don't know if this is happening with AT or Metacomet as well, but if you would please put in your unit number, put in your district, if you're a district position or a council position, or if you are a guest, so that we do have an accurate count and give everybody credit where credit is due. Okay. Fritz, Youth Protection, please.
Thank you, Ellie. Just a reminder, here we are February 1st, and already 9% of the registered leaders in General Knox District are deficient in youth protection training. So this includes merit badge counselors as well as unit registered folks. So please, unit leaders, take a look at your rosters. Take a look at your training manager at my.scouting and find out who needs to get back up to date. Technically, those folks are not supposed to be meeting with youth or engaging with them because they are not certified in youth protection training. This is a very important piece of the policies of the Boy Scouts of America. So sometimes folks get sloppy with this, they don't get it. But those of all of you that I'm looking at here tonight do get it. And so please take care of that. If I can, Ellie, one of the things that also disturbs me today is that 55% of our unit leaders are not position specific trained. To me, maybe not to everyone, but to me, that means that 55% of our leaders do not know the best methods for delivering the scouting program to our youth. For those of you who are trained, probably everybody that I'm looking at here tonight, please encourage those leaders in your units who are not position-specific trained to take that training. Most of it is available online. It's broken down into easy to take segments. You can take a few segments, come back later and finish up. So it's very easy to do. There are a few outdoor trainings that need to be taken in order to be fully certified. But I think our council works real hard to deliver those trainings. And if you do go out of council to take a training, please remember to get your trained card and report that to the council office. The other councils are not responsible for letting our council know. Some of them are nice and they do let us know that you took an out of council training, but many of them don't do that. So it's up to you to do that and make sure that your training is recorded here in Western Massachusetts. And if I can, one last thing, and I'm sure it doesn't affect anybody that I'm looking at here, but if you have friends in other units who have not yet rechartered, we have, I'm going to say about a dozen units in General Knox Council, General Knox District who have not rechartered yet for one reason or another. I'll say we have the usual suspects who always get started late and are never on time. I'm not concerned about them. Everybody that I've spoken with is interested in rechartering. Some folks are still stuck on checking out the roster, for example, and have been there since November. So if you know some of those folks, please give them a prod. In addition to my voice, I'd appreciate some support from anybody here who knows a unit that hasn't recharted yet, and just ask them to finish that up. You know, this is an insurance issue, it's a youth protection issue, it's an advancement issue, anything you can imagine that has to do with scouting, not getting recharted in a timely way is a problem. So please ask folks to be conscientious, and I will continue to do that as well. So thanks for your time. Thank you, Ellie.
Okay. Thank you, Fritz. Do we have anybody who has information regarding the Order of the Arrow? Hearing none. Joshua, did you want any additional time regarding rechartering or Journey to Excellence or any of that?
I don't think so. I think that everything that needs to be said has already been said, but thank you.
Okay, then we will go on to our hot topic has to do with A Scout is Reverent and it being February. I just wanted to put up this information about the observances and when they will be. For our Muslim friends, it will be Thursday, February 4th to sundown on Friday the 5th. Scout Sabbath, Friday the 5th, begins at sundown, continues into the next day, Saturday the 6th. And then Scout Sunday is February 7th. However, February 14th has been designated by the United Methodist Church as their Scout Sunday. So check please with all of your local venues so that you know when things are happening. The next piece up is our safety moments. And I wanted to share with you the information that BSA has put out. This is a PDF that BSA has put out on their webpage regarding hypothermia. It gives the summary, the general information, has a very quick, nice piece looking at the signs and symptoms of hypothermia, the risk factors, and then some care, frostbite prevention, some interesting pieces about how the body loses heat. We don't always think of all of these. And then there are additional links and resources. I can put that link into the chat so that you can print up the PDF on your own, right? And from here, we are ready to go into our breakout sessions.
So tonight's roundtable topic is Weeblo's transition, which is riveting. So we have a video we're going to play. Basically, it's going to talk about Cub Scouts, joining your troops. So I'm going to play the video, and then it's just going to be, the video is about 3.5 minutes long. And make sure you got a pen and pencil because there's some great info. You can jot some notes down. And then afterwards, it's just an open discussion with a few questions and so forth. So if I do this right, if you can't see something, let me know.
Then we'll have 25 minutes of riveting discussion.
25 minutes minus the 3 minutes and 30 seconds, guys. Let's see. Can everybody see that? Sure. Here we go.
Got sound too.
Most tenured scouting families first experience our program through Cub Scouting. A positive experience as a Weeblo Scout family transitioning into Scouts VSA will improve retention, which will help keep our program healthy. For the next few minutes of this roundtable breakout session, we'll offer some insights on welcoming Weeblos into Scouts VSA. Weeblos will not automatically join your troop just because your pack shares the same chartering organization. So your troop must take the initiative in asking new members to join. Most Cub Scout families are not familiar with troop dynamics, so new families need to know how a troop functions and how it functions differently from a pack. In particular, that troops are youth-led and adults give guidance. Share with them that your youth leaders occasionally make mistakes, and that's all part of the development process. Here are a few action items to undertake with the help of your district membership chair and unit commissioner. Identify Weeblos dens from packs in your area that can potentially join your troop. Plan a program of upcoming troop events that can be shared with the Weeblos dens. Identify and train members of the troop to become den chiefs. Conduct camping trips and encourage Weeblos dens to visit. Attend a Weeblos den meeting to teach the Weeblos how troop works. Invite Weeblos and their parents to your troop meeting to see firsthand how your troop operates. We recommend conducting orientations in person or online with the family who's preparing to join your troop. The orientation helps reinforce your troop dynamics while setting expectations for the family and the new scout. The Orientation for New Scouts BSA Parents offers a good resource for conducting that session and can be found at the link on the screen. The Welcome to Our Troop customizable document provides another resource to help families remember the orientation details and connect with troop leadership. Conducting a Scoutmasters Conference with Weeblos provides another great way to discuss topics such as the meaning of the Scout Oath and Law, the Advancement Program, troop camping, the patrol method, summer camp, and of course, personal equipment. Your troop is unique, even though we all have the same mission and aims. Your troop dynamics are different in terms of where and when you meet, your code of conduct, and the nature of troop leadership. Sharing these traits with new potential scouts and their families will increase their comfort with the transition. Remember, these are young scouts, and this is a new experience for them. For some, this will be the first time they've had a role with responsibility, and that can be overwhelming. Consider creating a new scout patrol, or a troop guide, or possibly having an assistant scoutmaster work with the new scouts to ease the transition. The quality of the experience and retention of new Cub Scouts will depend on guidance of the patrol leaders and adult leaders. They should clearly define how your troop operates, as well as expectations of the scouts and their families as they join the troop. Now, take some time during the remainder of this breakout session to discuss these questions. Thank you for watching, and thank you for all you do for Scouting.
Can I drop a shout out to the fact that Celia Nephew was in that video?
Saw that, Ludlow.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was actually, that picture was taken right next to the manor house on the driveway side.
Nice. Yeah, I noticed that when I watched it the first time. So I know in the past with Roundtable, we've talked about, I think when I looked it up about 1.5 years ago, we had this whole thing laid out, Weeblo's transition, into troop. And one of the things I think in this video, they did a pretty good job just highlighting. I know we all do something a little different. I mean, I don't do a troop open house, but that's a method you could use to help scouts transition into your program. My experience has been over the years that, the hard part for them, I think for me as a scoutmaster, is not knowing, when I don't know how the WeBlo leaders are following the program. Does that make sense? We have some packs that follow it to the T. And I've noticed over the years when those WeBlos and that pack is doing their, the program the way it's supposed to be, and they're fully engaged. And I find when those scouts cross into the troop, that's usually when I do like a Scoutmaster conference with those new scouts, but they usually know the oath, the law, and all that stuff. They seem to have a good handle on it. And I find that those scouts have a tendency to continue in the program and move on. They don't seem to be as overwhelmed with the, more independent role. However, with that said, I've had the same thing with the pack when they've had poor leadership. And then I get a group of scouts that cross in and cross over, and they don't even know the law, the oath, or the, what the sign means. I mean, it's just basic 101 stuff that you're starting with. And it's, it's a lot of learning something totally new. And at the same time, now you're, independent, right? You're supposed to be doing this work on your own to a degree and stuff. So I can't stress enough is, if you're not working with your packs, your Cub Master, you at least should reach out and try and get a dialogue started. So you have some, I don't say input, but you're giving them information that they understand how the crossover is supposed to work and what we need to be doing to get them prepared so when they come into the troop. Matt was going to share, I think in the chat, if he didn't already, oops. Right, the links. Yeah, so the forms they talked about, I hunted all day to try and find the links. Matt helped me in about 2 minutes. So we shared them with you. So make sure you save them. You can click on them and probably just save them in your favorites. You can use the troop letter. Is editable. The new parent orientation one isn't. It's just a PDF document. But I'm assuming most of you guys have something. I know my troop, we have, it's like a 6-page document of, it's basically a new scout, and it lays out everything about the troop, leaving a list of gear that we, expect from them, the basic stuff. So, because parents don't know a lot of that. They don't, again, my big concern is with the parents, a couple things that we do to make sure they're on board is they understand that BSA is not Babysitters of America. So, that's the hardest hurdle. I think all of us can agree. These parents, they'll show up with their cubs at every meeting, and then then the troop meeting starts and we don't see them again. When I first started in Brimfield, I used to call it the tuck and roll troop. The parents wouldn't even stop. They just kick their kids out the door as they go by. So it's important. I think parents meeting before crossover is really important, and so they understand or answer any questions they may have about the troop and the leadership in the troop and that process. One of the things, I don't know how many of you do the ILSC training in your troop, to help that transition. When we implemented that a few years back, that ILSC, I think is what, Introduction to Leader, is it Scout?
T for the troops.
I'm sorry, crew. So I always had a problem with scouts crossing over into the troop and expecting them to do a leadership role, not just them, but even your SPLs and your older scouts. It's kind of hard to do a job when you don't know what that job is, right? I mean, it's just like it would be you and I if we went and start a new business, a job somewhere, and they just throw us in the office and like, okay, go to work. Like, what's my role? What am I doing? That type of thing. That training is really important. And one of the things that we started doing was offering it to WeBlos. And not only that, the WeBlo parents. And so what we would explain to the parents is that we just, that they can, sit and observe the training, and so they can get a better understanding of the troop, because in that training is basic 101. I mean, if you're following the syllabus, it really lays out how your troop's supposed to be operating and so forth, and the positions and leadership roles. your SPL is usually running that with an assistant leader or scoutmaster. So they've, those parents will see older scouts interacting with the younger scouts. So they get a good sense from that meeting about what a troop is going to be like for their child. And usually there's some pretty good questions afterwards that you're able to field with the parents. So, but that also really helps when you have a pack that those scouts aren't prepped for. So at least with that training that you would be doing, by getting them to attend, it helps them a little bit too to understand, really what's going on in the troop when they cross over, because it's hard. Let's face it. You have your blue and gold on a Sunday afternoon. You're a Cub Scout, cross the bridge, and come Wednesday night at the troop meeting, you're now in Scouts, just like that. So, I would definitely recommend that type of training if you're not doing it. You can get it online. It's simple off of the BSA resources. So. It's a whole PowerPoint thing too. It's, we've done it for a few years and we've opened it up to other troops to attend, not just our troops. So, in our troop, we actually do it every year. We haven't done it this year because of COVID, but I'm sure at some point we will. So,
George?
Yep.
Greg here, just the ILST and ILSC are both available as a hybrid program currently during COVID as well. So they've moved the first 2 modules online for the scouts to do on my.scouting.org, and then the third one via Zoom or in person. Well, it's meant to be done on Zoom type platform.
Thanks. I'll look into that because like I said, our troop usually has it on the calendar. It's always been the second Saturday in January is when we do it. So
yeah, we just did it. It's fair. Not doing anything.
Right. No, and again, it's really important in the transition part for those scouts to have a little knowledge before they jump right in, and and we want to keep them all gung ho. I've noticed it's been easier on the, how do I say, the youth leadership. I know as adults we have a tendency, even myself, as time's going on. I love the younger scouts when they cross over. Their energy is awesome. Sometimes we, I don't know, I get tired of it. And that's why I have assistants, right? That's why I have SPL. Go take care of it. But I've noticed when we have kids cross over that just don't follow BSA policies or don't, because they're coming from a pack that just doesn't have that structure. It's amazing how it affects the older youth in the program, to a point where I just sit back and I like to listen to their comments and how they'll talk about the younger kids, how crazy they are. They don't follow this, the blah, 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 blah. And I'm looking at them like, yeah, I remember when you crossed over, now you know how I felt, So, but it's the training part is so important, not just for adults and leaders, but for the youth too. So, with that said, I mean, they left us with 3 questions. I think it was pretty good for us to talk about, to get some input from you guys. We can share. That's part of Roundtable's role, is that, we're all networking. One of the things Matt and we try to work on is we don't want Roundtable to just be a repeat over and over again, and you just sit there, blah, blah, blah. And Zoom makes it even harder. So we want you guys, to share a little bit and what works and what maybe hasn't worked. So, one of the questions they left us with was, your current strategy for recruiting Webelos and, and how we can improve. And that's, I'm always open to something different. When we talk about, recruiting Webelos, I mean, I'm looking at we're talking about first-year scouts. I mean, we've done roundups, whatever you want to call them, joining events. My theory is that, every 10 scouts you get at a joining event, 1 stays in the program. A lot of time and resources spent for very little return and retention. So what do you guys, I mean, you guys have ideas, what you may work, how you work with your pack, how you get new scouts, so forth, blah, blah, blah.
I think, one of the things that wasn't in that presentation was inviting the Webelos to troop meetings, to troop outdoor events. They can actually experience the troop in action and get to know the scouts. I think, them getting to know the scouts is the most important piece, whether it's through a den chief or through, regular contact. Waiting till the end and just having, one contact and a crossover kind of leaves us at a disadvantage.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. Right. I had good success years back with when I was with another troop with the pack. They used to do the Webelos always did a weekend camp out in the fall. It was just the Webelos. And so the troop, we would provide, 3 or 4 of the older scouts, and they would run a couple activities. It was usually like a fire building thing, teach the boys how to set up a tent. And I think they used to do some compass work, but you're absolutely right. It got the Webelos to, to meet some of the youth leadership in the troop. So yeah, that's really important.
We just did a recruiting event this weekend, and part of it wasn't, it was kind of more to get their feet wet, just because we really haven't done it in over a year, right? So the kids planned it, and they planned on doing fire building and starting a fire and cooking. And they did orienteering that's right. They planned for knots, and they did orienteering or sledding depending on the weather. And they really just treated it as an outdoor activity for the troop. And if other people showed up, they were prepared for that too. And they had a blast. We did have one kid show up that isn't one of mine, which was awesome. But I think the kids had a good time. And I think that if we, guide them to planning events where they're having fun, that just carries over and other kids see it, right? Whether it's Webelos or it's a recruiting event. If our scouts are just having fun, other kids are going to notice.
Right. I think you're right. And that's some of social media plays into that when you can share that. And when you're doing joining events, like I said, I've been working more with my local pack lately, and it's been nice because our joining events been together, so we're, so you got the crew, and we've got the troop, and we got the pack, and we're doing joint things as a group. And it helps with the turnout too for your activity, and it's interesting. I'm sure a lot of your scouts are same as ours, where they just love to be out in the community. I know my group just, they love serving dinners. They like the Worcester Fellowship, and we're, serving bag lunches and stuff to those in need. And they just like that interaction part, which is hard during COVID. But at the same time, it's funny. Years back, we did a fundraiser, a fluke. We did a pig roast. This is years ago. I did a pig roast fundraiser for, it was a high adventure trip we were doing down the Delaware River. And what was interesting, what came out of it, and to me, it was a fundraiser for this group of 13 scouts. But at the fundraiser, the scouts had done activities. So, and their gear was to anyone that showed up that they wanted to share scouting experience with adults. So they had a slingshot range that they were using dog food as ammo. We put up a monkey bridge, suspension bridge. They had a knot tying station. They had a Dutch oven cooking station. There was something else, but what was interesting, and an orienteering game. And it was fascinating to watch them get parents and just adults. I mean, these are people in the community that bought tickets, that came for this thing. So they don't know them from Adam. And they're trying to get them to, other scouts are getting them to go try these activities. And it ended up being an adjoining event / fundraiser. We actually picked up 6 scouts off the thing. So it was something that just morphed and became like an annual thing. And I think last year for us here in Brimfield, they had a huge craft fair on the Common, the Harvest Fest, whatever it is that we got involved in. And we're fortunate. We have a portable climbing tower, right? Our council does. So we were able to secure that. And we had the pack picked up close to 20 kids off of just that activity, I think. So, it was a great time. But again, the positive from the community to see the kids interacting and stuff is huge. So, yeah, those are good ideas. I mean, I think that's the key, is like you're saying, is the youth, our youth and their youth getting to know each other a little bit, and getting us to get to know the parents too helps.
I've got to say that when I was a Webelo, I still actually remember that. The big thing that brought me into the troop was having the den chief from the troop. I wanted to be in the troop with my den chief because he was the coolest person ever. So
Right. Then chiefs, let's be honest, these kids have an option. I know here in Brimfield, I have, the pack. They can go to Munson. They've got choices there. Sturbridge is active. Southbridge is active. I think I may have a scout that left it. Well, I had a scout that was in Ware, troop. We had one that was a Palmer troop. They have a lot of choices and they're looking around. That den chief I say it this way, it is a tool we use because just like Matt said, they develop a relationship with that den chief, that bond. And when it's time for them to cross over, who are they going to follow? Right? Your den chief. So, and that's a great way to keep that retention in your program is the den chief. I know it has multiple roles, but in the back of my mind, that's the main role is to keep our numbers up. And that's the den chief doesn't know it, but that's basically what he or she is doing. So absolutely.
I think
I would like to emphasize is dealing with the parents. I'm the charter organization representative for Troop in a Pack. They're interrelated. I'm also the new parent coordinator or new member coordinator. And so reaching out to the parents on both sides and trying to ensure that there's that smooth transition, working with the units as well and their leaders. That recruiting the parent helps retain the youth on beyond that transition between the troop and the troop, between the pack and the troop.
Right. And before we go, I think it's important that just a shout out for the unit commissioners, because that's one of their jobs. Their roles is to help. You don't have a really strong relationship or you want to grow that relationship. The unit commissioner is a good resource for that. And let's face it, they love filling out paperwork. So, have a meeting, call them up. That gives them another reason to fill out the form, turn it in. So, take advantage of your unit commissioners. That's what they're for. So.
And one of the things that you said, George, that I think is probably the most important thing is that maintaining a positive relationship between the pack and the troop is by far the most important thing, whether it is through the den chief, if you don't have den chiefs, making sure that the troop is involved with the Blue and Gold Banquet, with some type of help, with the Pinewood Derby, different things like that, because there are definitely units out there that take for granted the fact that the scouts are just automatically going to transition over to the troop. And like you said, on Saturday, they're a Cub Scout, and on Wednesday, they become a Scout, and they go to the first couple meetings, and their eyes bulge out of their head, and they, because there hasn't been any interaction, because they don't know those adults and those Scouts, then it becomes more of a shock. So, and that's one of the reasons why, really, as a Arrow of Light Scout, those youth really need to be working with the troop beyond just going to a meeting. The camp out, the pack that I work with, every November there is a camp out that the Boy Scouts, the Scouts BSA, and the pack go to, so that they start that. A lot of times the Webelos will meet an hour before the troop so that they can kind of transition from one meeting to the other, because the more of a positive relationship they have, then the better the transition will be. And at that crossover, the best thing to do is to have the application there, and that parent does not leave the building until.
Any other messages or anything before we go to closing?
Ellie, just a reminder that Scouting Anniversary is February 8th. Great opportunity for every unit to get some positive publicity out about their units, what they've been doing, the benefits their families have gotten from scouting.
Okay, thanks, Cheryl.
Ellie?
Yes, John.
I just want to mention, it's very important for those of you who are preparing to come to summer camp, especially all of you who are coming to Moses this summer, I hope. We need you to get your units registered. as soon as possible. We need to have some fix on how many people are coming. Now, maybe you don't know the numbers of kids yet, and we understand that. But if you at least put in your unit reservation with, just put down 1 or 2 adults and pay the $100 deposit, that's all you need to do at this point. We would like $75 deposit for every youth by March 15th, but we understand you may not know all of that. But as many of those as you can by March 15th would be appreciated. But please get your unit registrations in, because this is a critical year for summer camp. And we need to have an idea of how many people are coming, so that given that everything will be allowed to happen from the governor and the state's point of view, we will have a very successful camp with lots of units there. So I know some of you are already registered. Thank you. But everybody else, register as soon as possible. Thank you.
Okay. John, do you want a few minutes at next month's roundtable to do any preliminary camp information kind of presentation?
Sure. Put me down and we'll figure something out. Yep.
Okay.
If I may mention something, I learned something at the beginning. The slides, 1954, Weeblos was introduced. In 1954, I transitioned into the troop in February, so I missed it. I was a wolf, bear, lion, and I got my Arrow of Light, or Weeblos badge, as my graduation. Never really aware of the timeline there.
And Mr. Zissel,
it was fun for you.
I got a gold star on one of my tests this week because I knew what Weeblos originally stood for, which was the initials of the program levels instead of "Will Be Loyal Scouts."
And I didn't get to be a lion because they eliminated it just as I was supposed to become a lion. I went right to Weeblos. So.
And now, unfortunately, you're too old to be a lion.
But it could be a lion guide, a den leader now. I also
yes, he certainly could be.
From the Summit Bechtel Reserve, I was there all this past week for training. That it's the Energy Console Energy Bridge behind me. I was the first one to walk across the snow. Last time I was there was about 1,000 people on that bridge from all over the world. And it's quite a place to be in the winter. And but I represented Western Mass well. I participated in the polar shoot with the pistols and the shotgun. And most proud of, I jumped in Goodrich Lake with the vice president of the Boy Scouts, Patrick Sterrett, number 2, Thursday morning at 20 degrees, coldest polar plunge ever. So,
Greg, did you get the bridge vibrating?
no.
That just by yourself?
Okay, so we will say, we'll head to closing, and I will wish everyone a safe and healthy February. We will see you in March. All right.